This is just a preview of that test that I'm going to be doing here in the coming week or so. Hopefully the next few days. I don't know if the range will be open because of the 4th of July or not, so I'll have to kind of look at that. But I'm going to do that 178 eldx again in the 308, the Glenfield model A 20 inch, and the 180 grain Nosler. That's the AccuBond. In that same one, the Glenfield model A 20 inch 308. And I actually already tested these before, but well, I'm going to retest them because, and I'm actually doing a lot of retests because I'm kind of new to reloading, but so I didn't really understand. I didn't really understand all the powders and stuff, and just how it all worked, honestly. So I'm kind of figuring all that out a little bit more, and figuring out really how to do it, to really make it uh, the most effective, right? To make a high performance cartridge. And so I'm doing that, but with that 178 ELDX, I had already done a sub MOA group with that, but the velocities I got were average of 2552. And I can tell you that was, I mean, even at that, because it's such a high BC, at a 0.552 G1 BC, even going 2552, it was still producing 1,565 foot-pounds at 400 yards. And 1781 at 300 yards. And just to put that in perspective, as I say in my other videos, they typically say about 1,500 is good enough for elk, and 1,000 is good enough for deer. So 1,500 at 400 yards go out of, with a 2552 average muzzle velocity. That means that's elk capable probably out to 400 yards. But it's going to be going quite a bit faster than that this time because I figured out some tricks of the trade with some powders and how to get that a little bit better. Um, yeah, there's definitely some cool tricks that you can do with powder that I didn't quite understand that I know a little bit better now, and I'm glad I found that out. I'm surprised nobody ever told me that on a video or anything, but maybe people just don't know it. But so then the 180 Nosler, I also averaged right around 2,600 feet per second with that one. And again, I mean, at 400 yards, it was almost doing exactly what the ELDX was, which isn't surprising. They're both high G1 BCs. This one's got a 507. That one has a 552, which is, even better. But, I mean, 1,572 foot-pounds at 400 yards. 1,800 at 300 and 2,000 at 200. This one had almost the same numbers, really, right around the same. And this one was really a pretty good group too. I mean, it was an inch and an eighth. I don't get so caught up in doing the same hole because I wish I had a longer range. I wish I had like I don't know, at least up to like 500 yards, because I would love to like take this group, just with that performance and stretch it out, just to prove that, like, even with that, you could easily hit gongs at 500 yards with this group. You don't need a same whole group. I mean, it's great if you could do that, but it's not like you have to just throw the gun away and retire the cartridge because it doesn't do a same hole, right? Like, if you're within an inch and a half or so, you're gonna be perfectly fine out to 400 or 500 yards. maybe somebody that has access. I found out that there's a range not about an hour or so, hour and a half from me that goes out to 600 yards, but it's a membership, and I mean, it's pretty packed all the time. That kind of stuff is very popular, you know. Ranges and stuff are very popular, at least where I live. I mean, you know, if you don't get there pretty early, you're going to be on a waiting list, especially on weekends. But yeah. Oh, another thing I wanted to mention. I know I talk in some videos about like, oh, the 308 destroys the 270 or something like that, or the 6.5 Creedmoor. Honestly, I like all of them, so I don't necessarily like favor any of them. I like the ones that I have for sure, you know, but I mean, if I had a 6.5 Creedmoor, I'd make it, you know, I'd turn it into something even better than what it does. That's the benefit of reloading, but I don't think I've even ever had a 6.5 Creedmoor. I actually had a 6.5 PRC before though, and those are pretty cool. I don't know what it was back. That was quite a long time ago. I mean, that was probably like 7 or 8 years ago, and I think I remember it like recoiling kind of heavy. I didn't used to like that. Like I had a seven mag too, and it was a really heavy recoiler, and I didn't really care for that too much, honestly. I mean, you know, the lighter you can get it, the better. When I figured out muzzle devices change everything, that's when I was like, you know what, this makes a huge difference for cartridges. But at the time, I had that seven mag, and it was a Tika, and the barrel was so skinny that they couldn't thread it. So I was like, well, so it was light, which would have been perfectly fine if I could have got a muzzle device on it, but I couldn't even get it threaded. So I was like, you know what, I'm gonna look for something different here. Um, so I have what I have now. I just have a few. I don't have 50 different options. So actually, pretty much everything I have is cheap too. Like I go for the cheapest stuff I can get, and just because there's a lot of good options for cheap. If I could go, expensive, I'd probably go for something with one of the. I would love to do one of those carbon platforms because they're so light. I mean, that's the cool part about those. I don't know how well they stand up, over time. How many shots you can get out of a barrel with those. Hopefully, it's because I'm sure they're expensive. So as expensive as they probably are, hopefully you can do quite a bit. But anyway, I wanted to do a little review on those projectiles because I'm going to be retesting those. So again, averaged around basically right at 2600 with both of them. That was pretty light loads. Now that I look back at it, so those are going to definitely be increasing, which is amazing because honestly, even like I said, just because they're not flying down the barrel, the numbers were perfectly fine out to 400 yards, which is really longer than I hunt most of the time anyway. You know, so there'd be nothing wrong with that at all. But I mean, who doesn't want to see how fast you can get them to go, right? So, and what I've honestly noticed about a couple of different rounds now that I've tested and got faster is they've gotten better, right? They've gotten tighter groups the faster the faster I've got them. So hopefully these keep up with that. So look for a video in the near future with those getting retested, those numbers increasing. And I just wanted to put a video out about that and those other things that I talked about. So, all right.